Welcome everybody listening at home. Today is the first of our series called Bison on the Front Line. And as many of you know, there are hundreds, if not thousands of folks around the United States and the world who are putting themselves in harm's way during this pandemic each and every day, trying to make it a safer place for all of us. And joining us today is Kelsy Kauffman from the class of 2017 at Bucknell, and she played field hockey for the Bison for 4 years. Kelsy, thanks a lot for taking the time to be with us today. And I hope, first of all, that you're doing well and your family's doing well.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you. I'm healthy so far. My family's healthy so far. So I'm doing okay.
Great. Can you tell the folks that might be watching at home where you work and what you specifically are doing during this pandemic?
Yeah, so I'm a physician assistant. I work in the emergency room at Paoli Hospital. So we're kind of the first people that see these patients when potentially going to be hospitalized for COVID.
And in terms of being on that front line, how is the hospital helping to protect you all as the folks that have that first contact with people?
I think our hospital was really good about getting things together kind of up front before any kind of surge happened. So we've kind of been trying to conserve our masks and PPE from the very beginning. So we're pretty good on that front. And then we're just kind of doing strategies to kind of help us as much as we can stay safe. So what we'll do, we'll kind of bundle our care. And what that means is we'll try to just go into a room with somebody that potentially has COVID only, once or twice to kind of conserve PPE and not really expose ourselves as much. So often I'll be calling my patients on their cell phone to ask them follow-up questions going into the room. So just kind of changing the way we practice.
So can you talk us through what might be your experience when somebody shows up at the hospital and they think they're positive? I'm assuming first you would give them administer a test. Take us through those steps so we can kind of hear what you're actually doing hands-on.
Yeah, so our hospital's taken a lot of steps. We actually have our waiting room closed, so nobody's even out in the waiting room to potentially be exposed. So they come back to a room, the nurses kind of start with an intake process, they get all their PPE on, they kind of start doing labs or EKGs, things that might need to be done for the patient. And then if they're going to be admitted or we think they're going to be admitted to the hospital, we do now have a rapid COVID test. So that is done at one of our other mainline hospitals. So it takes about 4 to 6 hours to come back. So that's kind of the best we have right now, but we'll do that. And then within a few hours, hopefully we get the phone call then, whether or not it's positive.
And what is the, I guess for lack of a better phrase, the volume and the number of folks that are coming in? I mean, I'm assuming this is something like you've never seen in your time there in terms of the number of people that are circulating through the emergency room.
So it's interesting because as of now for us, our volumes are actually a little bit decreased. But I would say the number of sick patients, high acuity patients make up a large number of the people we are seeing. So although we aren't getting a huge influx of people into the hospital, a lot of the people that are coming in do have suspected COVID, and a lot of them are very sick. So while we might not have as many patients to be seeing, the patients that we are taking care of are definitely a little more critical.
Obviously, we don't want to hear about anybody being really ill, but I guess maybe it's a positive that the numbers aren't gigantic and increasing, but rather going the other direction.
Yeah, I mean, I think people that don't have true emergencies are trying to stay away from the emergency department as much as possible. I think people are obviously frightened of potentially being exposed to something. So yeah, we just haven't been seeing a lot of other people besides for the potential COVID cases.
So I'm imagining these days are long and very stressful. How do you keep yourself motivated and positive to go to work each day when you know things might not go so great once you get there?
Yeah, I mean, there's been a lot of different things. We've felt really supported. A lot of local restaurants and stuff have been donating us food and different things. I've had some Zoom happy hours with some of my old teammates, things like that. So talking to family and friends has been really helpful. And then, of course, there are patients that we've had that have come off the ventilators, been extubated, are being discharged home. So just knowing that, you know, there are people that they're beating this and making through, I think that kind of helps to keep you going.
I know how much that can mean when those community organizations and restaurants and the community in general gets behind you guys and shows that support. Bucky paid a visit to Evangelical Hospital.
That's
And
great.
people were very thankful that Bucky came in with his mask on, and he gave some Dunkin' Donuts gift cards to the staff. So
That's
really
awesome.
well. Yeah. So my last question for you, and again, I really appreciate you taking the time out of your schedule today. How might you think the experience you had at Bucknell as a student athlete have helped prepare you for a crisis such as this and how to handle that?
I think there's a lot of different things being an athlete that prepares you for this. Obviously, teamwork is huge in any kind of situation, crisis like this. You know, we're working together with the doctors, the nurses, the respiratory therapists, all that. So, you know, teamwork is huge. I think another thing that I learned from being a student athlete is that you always have to be flexible and be able to adapt, whether that's on the field or, you know, with a busy schedule during school, whatnot. And I think that's really huge right now because there's guidelines changing every day. The status of what's going on is changing every day. So I think just being able to adapt to whatever the situation is that day is huge.
And I'm assuming the camaraderie you have with you and your colleagues there at the hospital is a big part of it as well. Much like a teammate on the field hockey team, you guys are all in this together. So you're probably very supportive of each other.
Yes, definitely. We really great group in the emergency department. Everyone's really close. Everyone supports each other really well. So that definitely makes it a lot easier when you have people to kind of rally around and, you know, fighting against one cause, just similar to as we were on a sports team.
Well, Kelsey, I really appreciate you taking a few minutes today to talk to us. Please stay safe and healthy, and thank you so much for what you're doing for everybody there on the front line.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate the support.